I started off doing this Bruiser Wolf analysis of his album Potluck, just trying to answer one simple question. Is an entire full length project from Bruiser Wolf going to be as good as one of his guest features? Because, he might be one of, if not the best guest feature artist right now that's out there, especially in the underground space. And so I'm here to tell you yes, it's great. It's just as good as his guest features. I'm all done. There's the end of my video. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who, okay, I'm going to go a little bit further. I have delusions of grandeur, but it's not the kind of grandeur where it's like, I am so important now. I like to think that in the future there will be people studying hip hop, which there will be, and I like to think that they will use my videos as some kind of sense of what were people thinking at the time. I try to distill a lot of information in my videos. So, in the event that there's some scholar here in 50 years, if I'm dead, then man, that sucks. Remember my work. If I'm alive, invite me to come speak at your college. I'll come. But there's two things I think that you really need to understand about this album, like in this moment of a week of listening to the album and studying the discourse around it. I think there's two things you have to take away from this. One is the album itself, which I'll get into, and the other is the interview with Curtis King, a friend of the channel, Curtis King. If you are a hip-hop interviewer out there, what's the term people use? He's a problem? He's a problem. Like, he's really good at interviewing. I didn't even know that his style would work so well at interviewing, but he's really capable of getting a lot out of his interviewees. And he had an interview this week, and it is a perfect complement to the album because it shows his personality and it also shows his perspective. And what's so amazing is that a rapper who's best known for being funny, having a funny voice, having punchlines and punchlines, also sneakily released one of the truest, most heartfelt albums of the year. This combination of punchlines and heart. All right? That's what Bruiser Wolf does. I would argue the only person who does it in a similar way, maybe Danny Brown, maybe Eminem. What's going on over there, guys? What's going on in Detroit? What in the Lou Whitaker is happening over there where you have all these funny guys who are able to get a lot of heart? What in the Miguel Cabrera? So I love it. And what you get when you watch this interview is you see the punchlines and you see the heart. He really talks about his vulnerability, about addressing his vulnerability. Real men know that strength comes from knowing your weakness, right? Frail, little, insecure men are the ones who are like, I'm not weak, I'm all powerful, right? He talks about his influences being Snoop. He talks about his influence being too short because his father raised him and his mother didn't. And so he was bitter towards women, his father was. And so all of the punchlines, the kind of misogyny that was in Too Short, served almost in a therapeutic manner for his father. I mean, what kind of depth is that? That's fascinating. He talked about playing center, almost making it to the NFL as playing a center, which I played football for 2 years in middle school, and I played center. He said it was boring. It wasn't boring. Not when I did it, because I was terrible. I didn't even know what blocking meant. So I would just pass the ball, and just people would run right by me. I'd be like, oh yeah, the quarterback's over that way. And he emphasizes all throughout this amazingly heartfelt interview, and you just have to watch it. I'll include a link. I'll include a link in the description. Is that all the time that he's sitting there and he's telling you about his vulnerability, about his life on the streets, about his difficulty trying to be a small businessman, he also talks about his great love of just playing with words. That's what he does. That's his skill, is playing with words. He just walks around and thinks about words and thinks of punchlines and texts his friends and just says, hey, does this work? Is this a good punchline? Do you like this? And it made me think, like, what kind of comedian is he like? I have to pause right now because I think I'm getting sunburned. 1 second. All right, I'm not getting sunburned. It's just hot as hell out here in Western New York. So it made me think, like, who does he remind me of as far as comedians go? And so the one he reminds me most of is a fellow Bostonian named Stephen Wright. And the reason that he reminds me of Stephen Wright is that Stephen Wright manages to come up with these one-liners. All he does is one-liners. And they're all, like, a little bit smarter than you'd think. Like, they all require a little extra thought. And he has a very laconic, drawn-out voice. I'm going to read some of his jokes throughout this video. What's another word for thesaurus? All right, that kind of stuff. If I said that was a Bruiser Wolf line, you'd be like, I believe it. And if I read you a lot of a lot of Bruiser Wolf's raps, you'd say, oh, is that a Stephen Wright joke? Right now I'm having amnesia and deja vu at the same time. More Stephen Wright jokes. Smoking cures weight problems. Eventually. I watched the Indy 500 and I was thinking, if they left a little earlier, you wouldn't have to go so fast. All these kinds of one-liners that make you think with this very trademark voice. And that's what Bruiser Wolf has. When I first listened to him, I couldn't quite give him his props because he reminded me so much of E40. But when you listen to him over an entire project, the E40-ness just kind of disappears. I mean, it's still kind of there, right? Because anytime you rap in a sort of funny way and you... Okay, well, I can't do it. Pretend you didn't hear that. But he's able to do that, had this iconic voice, and be funny. But then it's mixed up with this heart. And that's what comes through in the Curtis King interview. His life, the life as a hustler, of a failed ball player, as a failed small businessman. And my favorite thing, the thing that hit me the hardest, is he's talking about being a father. And he's talking about the reason that he needs to make it in rap isn't just because he wants to have a Cullinan. He doesn't just want to be swimming in women with their own condominiums. It's not that. Man, this is going to make me cry. This is going to make me cry. Before he made it big at all, before he was able to make a living as a rapper, he was just a rapper. So his kids, his kids' friends' parents would be like, what do you do for a living? And he'd be like, I'm a rapper. Oh, have you done anything? Like that sense, that feeling like you aren't good enough, like you're disappointing your family, like you're a disappointment as a man, that was his feeling. That's the fire underneath him. It's not just that he has to make it out of the mud. It's not just that he has to be rich and have all the B words and all that. It's that he doesn't want his kids to be embarrassed when they say what he does for a living. And I know that because my dad was a failed writer. Okay, my dad... most of my life just lived as a writer. Never published anything. Hey, Sky, what does your dad do for a living? He's a writer. That's part of the reason why I'm happy this YouTube thing is working. Because when I talk about YouTube, what I do as a hobby, I do YouTube. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I have 100,000 subscribers. Oh, okay. In that case, I'll take you seriously. And he has this one line in the album where he says, excuse my thoughts. I'm just rambling. Music in my head. I be jamming. And that's what you feel. You feel that you are just inside of his thoughts as he's rambling, as this music goes and he's jamming. Speaking of music, it's all super well produced. It's all just perfectly well produced. There's producers who you've heard of, like Nicholas Craven and Harry Fraud, ones you haven't heard of necessarily, and every single song is good. The entire album, it's almost like an old school album. It's just like a good rapper with a bunch of good producers just making good rap music. You don't need to just sit there and say, ooh, the clips are coming back. Bruiser Wolf is right here, right now. And he's amazing. So let's go through some of the tracks here. The opening track is called Say No Moa by Knowledge. Produced by Knowledge. Jazzy opening, so many punchlines. What they hating for? I'm from the bottom, where hell at? Multiple choice. I chose violence. What a line. Double check the bag like it's fast food. Love it, right? How relatable is that? When you get fast food and they never get your order right? Here's a Stephen Wright joke. I got some powdered water, but I don't know what to add. Let you think about that one for a second. I'm going to deliver that like Bruiser Wolf. I got some powdered water, but I don't know what to add. Then we get to maybe my favorite song on the album, Right or Wrong. Super simple 808 beat, nothing on this beat, just beats and rhymes. The entire chorus, thank God for this microphone, Plymouth Road, that's a sniper zone. Couldn't change me if I had a diaper on. I'm correct, whether right or wrong. What a line, what a lyric. I'm correct, whether right or wrong. Indicating he can be correct, like he can be right or wrong, but no matter what, he's coming correct. Like how specific, how killer, it's not even a punchline. I was in the comments during the Bruiser Wolf interview, and everyone was just dropping their favorite lines of Bruiser Wolf. And of course, everyone just wants to say all the funny punchlines. But this is my favorite line, because this is kind of where he is. I'm winning, check the stand and paint pictures. Use the kitchen as my canvas. The bitch don't know where her pants is. B-boy stance in my Stan Smiths. Excuse my thoughts, I'm just rambling. Music in my head, I be jamming. You not him, you a stand-in, line after line, you can't scan in. Eat beats like I'm famished. Beautiful. Stephen Wright. I like to torture my plants by watering them with ice cubes. Do you understand what I'm saying? The similarity between these two men, even though one of them is like 80 years old and from Boston, the other's about half that, out of Detroit, whole different experience. Then we get to the song Air Fryer, produced Musica de Harry Fraud, swirling piano, I talk white and slang ebonics. Great, and I talk because he talks a lot about selling cocaine and he's slang ebonics, and these little tiny like you really get the sense that you're in. So there's a bunch of comedians like this, right? I mean, Mitch Hedberg was the same way. Sometimes George Carlin was like this as well. Harris Whittles had a lot of jokes like this as well. But just like in his foam corner, like you get the sense that he sort of like has these ideas and he just sees the world in a different way and he just tries to communicate that. Orange scrubs make nurses look like inmates. I don't know why he's saying that, but that's true. Certain drugs, I got to monitor my intake. And then he says, I'm the first person you ever see air fry cocaine. Cook up coke in an air fryer. No, I'm sorry. West Side Gun did that in 2020. I know. West Side Gun releases a lot of music, but he was the first there. And then he has a deep WNBA reference. Shoot from the hip, same release as Angel Reese. I spark the deuce deuce, call me Cameron Brink. He's really into the WNBA. He mentioned that in the interview. Like, he's really into the WNBA. Why? Because it's a good sport. And then there's like a beat change. And there's two Harry Fraud songs, and they each have beat changes. And each of the beat changes, cheech changes. I can't pronounce my words. I'm a mumble mouth. This whole review is going south. Beat changes remind me of Red Rum, the London on the track beat for 21 Savage. Crabs in a barrel, it's a boil now. I'm the boy, W-E-B. Making a W-E-B Du Bois reference. Library full of coke bars. Who moved keys like Wolfgang? Mozart. He moves keys like Mozart. Moves keys. Ah, beautiful. Stephen Wright joke. I wrote a song, but I can't read music. Every time I hear a new song on the radio, I think, hey, maybe I wrote that. Next song is called Beat the Charge. Sorry, I'm getting it. Do you remember when Will Ferrell used to do Harry Carey impersonations on Saturday Night Live? Well, hi. Does your name make you want to eat a hot dog? Anyways, the next song is called Beat the Charge, produced by Nicholas Craven. This is my second favorite Nicholas Craven beat on the album. There's only two. If you want to hear more Nicholas Craven beats, you got to listen to the Saint Sucré album. I'll be talking about that maybe even later today. This nice little rising xylophone. Potato on the biscuit. We eat in starch. Assault the witness. To beat the charge. To beat the charge. He's also... Who's that other guy? Who's the other guy from Hanna-Barbera? Succotash Sam? Suffering Succotash. Who's that guy? From Head Up, no one knows. This guy, no one knows. That's a reference that I'm too young for that reference. They don't know. Sourpuss? I think that was his name. Suffering Succotash. I beat the charge. Assault the witness to beat the charge. This is the point in the review where people say, Sky, you're tripping. I'm on vacation, everybody. I'm a real deal professor. Smash like bucket, subscribe. I ain't trying to say I'm the realist or the last real one, but I am solid and then some. The other thing that comes through in the Curtis King interview is his humility. He truly has humility. It's not fake humility. And it reminds me of one of my favorite rap lines of all time from Biz Markie. I'm not saying that you're all mine, don't own it like a hornet, but you paid for the performance, doggone it, you want it. You know, like I'm not saying that you have it. I'm not saying all that. I'm just saying this is what you want. Craven has a great little, extends out the sample at the end. Next track's called Lock In, produced by Sango. Breezy, kind of West Coast beat about having to lock in. And then he seems to be going even harder on, like, this verse, his verses here. I don't know, man. Me and the bro had to split an egg like twins. Been scrambling ever since. What more do you want, everybody? What more do you want? You tell me. You tell me, rap fans, if you really are rap fans, and you are probably if you're watching this deep into my Bruiser Wolf review. I changed the game. I had the rules submitted. Why do I keep trying to talk like him? My road to riches wasn't fuel efficient. I didn't know if it was the bars or the sense of humor that did it. I'm direct to the consumer with it. Situations wasn't livable. I started breaking down syllables. Beautiful. The way he says Bruiser at the end, it's like the Serbian word for hurry up. Brzo. Great beat. Stephen Wright joke. I have a map of the United States. Its original size. It says 1 mile equals 1 mile. Next song is called Peewee Herman. If you remember Tim Burton's best movie, it was also his first movie. It's called Pee-wee's Big Adventure, starring Paul Reubens as Peewee Herman. There's a scene in which he is in a biker bar, and in order to get out of trouble, he dances to the song Tequila. That is the song that is playing in the back here. I think it's produced by Chili Gonzalez, I think. And it's awesome. And the whole idea is like, so I've only ever heard of Pee Wee Kirkland because I used to listen to clips. Grinding. Remember, I was just talking. This is weird. I was talking about grinding. I was talking about how my favorite version of grinding is actually timing, the E40 version, which was my introduction to both the song Grinding and to E40. But anyways, they rap about Pee Wee Kirkland, who was a former basketball player who became a huge coke dealer. So I played with Blow, Pee Wee Kirkland. You played in Blow, Pee Wee Herman, because Paul Reubens, the actor, who was... You want to know how much the world sucks? He lost his career because he jerked off in a porno movie theater. Okay? Like a move. This was pre-internet. Okay? So like, come on. It goes to the old adage, everybody. Never take your pants off in Florida. Never take your pants off in Florida. You can clip that if you want. Never do it. Jim Morrison did it. Jail. Pee Wee Herman did it. Jail. Lost his career. Never take your pants off in Florida. Anyways, I played with Blow, Pee Wee Kirkland. You played in Blow, Pee Wee Herman. Beautiful flip there. DJ Lucas is super aggressive and funny. I like his style. I'm going to be collaborating again with Sam Buck soon, hopefully. I think I am unintentionally ghosting him. If you're watching, what's up, Sam? We should get together. He told me his favorite guy out there right now is DJ Lucas. So there you go. Stephen Wright joke. Babies don't need a vacation, but I still see them at the beach. It pisses me off. I'll go over to a little baby and say, "What are you doing here? You haven't worked a day in your life." Offer I Couldn't Refuse is produced by, ladies and gentlemen, coming in from left field, Mike Greenwell. Hello. What you doing here? It's filthy. Filthy? For one, filthy? The whole lot of red filthy, the guy who's I think partly responsible for the current sound of rage rap, pop rap stuff. Yeah, filthy. Unexpected collaboration, but I like it. It works well. His raps work well over here. A little bit more restrained of a filthy beat. You can't ball forever, no timeouts. And this is how he is talking about his life in crime, with regrets. And that it was something he couldn't avoid. Streets gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. I was already losing. Ain't no way I can lose. The most dangerous people on earth are people with nothing to lose. Do you know why? Because they have nothing to lose. Terrorists who are not afraid of ending their own existence are so dangerous because they've got nothing to lose. What can you do? That's why whenever I'm in any kind of situation with anybody, I've got a lot to lose. I'm not a coward. I'm a pragmatist. So someone wants to someone wants to pee on my shoes like I'm Drake. I'm just going to assume they got nothing to lose, and I got 4 kids and a bird feeder. So I'm just, but this guy, he had nothing to lose. Down to my last, running on fumes, stuck in my ways, you can save your opinion and views. So he's asking for empathy while at the same time saying, like, you can basically keep it because he knows that he's not going to be seen. I'm a dealer. I ain't happy about it. Trafficking product, trying to send my baby to college. The fiend's sick. They need a fix. These antibiotics, a few more flips, and I'm out of it. How'd I get here? I had a scholarship. I played ball. Now it's an 8-ball in my pocket. Fuck it. Drop it. Let's switch the subject. The perfect bit. Because he's opening up. As always, any rapper, any single rapper on planet Earth who is being vulnerable is going against the instincts that are part of the genre. The genre tends to prefer very limited emotional range. So any artists who are trying to expand the emotional range in any way deserve credit, respect, and attention. And that's what he's doing here. He's talking about how he didn't want to be in the streets serving fiends. He's talking about how he doesn't like it. He's not happy to be here. He had a scholarship and now he's here. And then it gets too real and he says, fuck it, drop it, let's switch the subject. Why is this album so good? This album is so good because of that line. Because he's saying, sorry, I'm doing a Denzel Washington finger point thing. You know when Jay Farrow does Denzel Washington? Don't you ever in your life. Anyways, ADHD moment. Like, let's switch the subject. It hits too close and he can't stay with it. He's too emotionally stunted. I love it. He talks about the problems of a work-life balance. That's the problem with crime. I mean, it's not the only problem with crime. But one of the big problems with crime is, for the most part, most drug dealers would be better off working at CVS. Just in terms of the hours and the benefits and the job security, it actually doesn't end up being a lot of money. Much like the rest of capitalism, the only people who make money are the people who are not doing the real work. So if you're doing the real work of drug dealing, you're probably being played by at least 2 or 3 people above you, just like anyone else who's working, except you might end up in jail. And it leads to a bad work-life balance. Selling drugs is a drug. I had to give it up. We make fun of addicts, but we addicted just as much. So, listen, I know this is a long review, right? How long is it? What are we at here? 21 minutes? But this isn't for you. If you're watching, awesome. I appreciate it. This is for the future academics. This is for the future academics who are looking at Bruiser Wolf's output and saying, was anybody actually up on exactly how deep and how good Bruiser Wolf was? The funny guy with the punchlines? Was anybody really up on it? Well, I don't know about everybody else. I'm sure there's other good people. Tell me in the comments. And I'm not saying I'm the only one, but I'm saying I see it. No timeouts. There's no timeouts in this game. Chris Webber making reference to that famous guy for, what was it, Purdue? I don't know college basketball that well. But a basketball player called a timeout with 2 seconds left when there were no timeouts, which gave the other team a technical foul, which meant that they had no chance to win in the last couple seconds. Ouch. Stephen Wright joke. I used to work at a factory where they made fire hydrants, but you couldn't park anywhere near the place. Trust issues, soul sample starts and restarts. I had to see if my man is well, Noriega, like Manuel Noriega. You asking for info and trying to get data, then you in jail a day later, I don't trust nobody. I really trusted you. And it's all about trust issues on the street. It's all about his inability to trust people because everyone's flipping on everybody. It's an interesting street story that is also, it's street and emotional because it's talking about his own trust issues. Stephen Wright joke. I replaced the headlights in my car with strobe lights. Now it looks like I'm the only one moving. Next song is called Baby You, La Musica de Harry Fraud, pitched up soul sample. Dead or Alive, like Bon Jovi. Okay, so he has a whole thing about having sex with a married woman. But the way that he does it is great. She want to fuck with a real one. She tired of her hubcap. I believe Lil Wayne was the first person to use the term hubcap, referring to lying about a husband, but okay. Went from heart eyes to apartheid. Used to kick it like onsides. How you make me the fall guy. All of it was your fault. We lost before the coin toss. So basically, this woman is trying to blame him for her cheating on her husband. Another great beat change. And then his whole last verse is about a woman who takes a charge for her man and then her man cheats on him in jail. It's storytelling. He's like this. It is sort of he's demonstrating all these things he can do. He can do story songs. He can do punchline songs. He can do emotionally honest songs. He can do songs with Nicholas Craven and Filthy. Stephen Wright joke. I was born by cesarean section, but you can't tell. Except when I leave my house, I always go out the window. Guns and Squares. This is the beat. This is the beat. This is the beat, Nicholas Craven. Amazing Nicholas Craven beat right here. With just the hi-hat and like a brushy snare. Simple bass. Boom, boom. And little drum. It's just so much space for this rhyming. I used to fuck with Guns and Squares. Now it's kick drums and snares. Freestyle, I don't need pads. I ain't Patrick Ewing, because Patrick Ewing used to wear like elbow pads, right? My style, I got a patent to it, trying to figure out how to use it. It's true, he doesn't quite know how to use his own style. Food for thought. It's a full course. Been in the gym. I'm shredded like pulled pork. It's so funny. I really like Sir Michael Rocks on here too. Another idiosyncratic style voice, like slightly swinging. The other day I was playing poker with tarot cards. I got a full house and 4 people died. Then we get to Fancy featuring Fat Ray. Good gravy. It's just okay. So let's just get through. No offense. Let's just get through the Bruiser Wolf part. Bruiser Wolf is great. He's fine. He's great. Whatever. Fat Ray is on a whole nother level. Now, Bruiser Wolf was on the Fat Ray album from earlier this year. Great album. Now we got Fat Ray on Bruiser Wolf thing, and this is something I am not ready for. I don't even know how I'm going to describe it, but I'm going to do my best. It is basically a reimagining of a Biggie song. I don't even know how I'm going to explain it to you. So I put it up on the screen here, all right? So there it is. It's up on the screen. And what's cool is that the song itself kind of sounds sort of Biggie-ish. It sort of reminds me of the beat to What's Beef, or to the Schoolie D song, you know, B.I.G., what does it mean? You know, the... But what we have here is this bizarre ability, and I put on the left, I put Fat Ray, and on the right I put Notorious B.I.G. And this entire thing, once I get this out of the way, this entire thing is Fat Ray using the same rhyme scheme and many of the same elements to create a completely different verse that applies to him. I've never seen this kind of exercise done before. Tell me in the comments, rap snobs, all the other times this has happened before. You know, you'll hear lines. Hell, Kendrick repurposed a Biggie line, but this is repurposing a whole rhyme scheme and an entire verse. So forgive my indulgence, everybody, but Fat Ray has done something here that I've never seen before. So let's talk about it. All right. So here's Fat Ray. Ha 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 ha. Roll up the cigar. Compared to Biggie. Ha 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 ha. Check out this bizarre. Which I think is actually quoting Notorious B.I.G. Biz Markie. Repertoire used by me, the FAT. Rapper style used by me, the B.I.G. If you seeing what I'm seeing, I put my key in, you put the key in. We can make a killin'. Money we be seeing. And stack it to the ceiling. We reach the fucking ceiling. The F&N been cocked, this butter out the Ziploc. My calico been cocked, this Alfred Hitchcock. At the pit stop competition. You see what he's doing? Resistance, I go the distance. This instant rapper's too persistent. You can do a thing. You could do a thing where you just go from one to the next and you can pretend like it's a big double extra verse. And then where they really kill me, where he really kills me, is with the famous see me, be that is, I that is, gee whiz, motherfucker still in my biz. So that's famous Biggie line where he spells out his name B-I-G. See me, be that is, I that is, gee whiz. So G of gee whiz is making a G. Motherfucker still in my biz. Look at what this member of the Bruiser Brigade does with his version of it. See me, be that is, R that is, U is ER. I see y'all squares. So Bruiser, B-R-U, is E-R. Bruiser. Because ER is the emergency room. So he spells out Bruiser, B-R-U, is er. You see what he's doing there? And he took out the whole bit about kidnapping and sexually assaulting children. Hey, Biggie, I think you'd be in some weird spaces right now if you were still alive. I don't know. So, what an amazing verse. I just do yourself a favor, do what I did, just cut and paste both verses, put them next to each other, and just see the way that Fat Ray does this thing. What do we even call this? It's like an interpretation. It's like a riff. It's like an improvisation. It's like he's taking the same melody but playing different notes. I don't know what the hell this is that's going on here, but it's nestled in the middle of this great rap album. Stephen Wright. There's a fine line between fishing and standing on the shore looking like an idiot. Whippin', kind of more pop song. My wrist is not the same. Whippin' kitchen with the cane. kind of a slow downbeat at the end. It's good. Moving birds of raw till I got salmonella. That's funny. That's a funny cocaine lyric. I have a hobby. I have the world's largest collection of seashells. I keep it scattered on beaches all over the world. Maybe you've seen some of it. Then we get to confusing, which is, again, the Curtis King interview allowed us to get insight into why someone might be, through life experience, misogynistic, which is how his father was. His father was left. His father basically got Kenny Powers, right? Remember the third season of Eastbound and Down? I've been rewatching that because Justin Hunt likes it so much. The third season gets weirdly racist, though. There's a real... I mean, it's always like plays around racism, but the third season gets super weird. Problem number two. But, so his dad left him... His mother left him with his dad, and this shows his anger towards women. And he describes his relationships with women, and it's clear. It's like... It's generational trauma. The tequila was 6 o'clock military time, which means he was drinking at 6 in the morning. I got 99 problems. This bitch, the main one. That's why you always be the side chick, never the main one. She's playing dumb because I'm blowing up, apologizing, saying shit like she's growing up. Her brain lit, dome light, it's on sight. It's 50-50 if we go and fuck a fight, the story of my life. It feels really searching. It feels really honest. And he says that he's sharp. He gets his Shan on. He also really loves sports media. I feel like we could have... I don't think I could do a good interview because, frankly, Curtis King did the definitive Bruiser Wolf interview. But I feel like we could hang out and talk about sports. Why is the alphabet in that order? Is it because of the song? The album ends with Overlooks, which serves like 5 different purposes at once. A very kind of gentle beat with piano and thumping bass. It's about a woman who he appreciates and says, you're so much more than looks. The inside always gets overlooked. People shallow can't get overlooks. I hope this don't get overlooked. You're in a class of your own, perfect attendance. First it was critics, now it's crickets. Made your mark, I see the divots. Followed your heart, now you see the digits. I think this is a love song to himself. I think this is Bruiser Wolf doing his version. 2 songs in a row. I love myself. 2 videos in a row where I reference that song. I think this is about pumping himself up because it's all about the grind. And it's Bruiser Wolf. I hope you don't get overlooked. You're in a class of your own, perfect attendance. First it was critics, now it's crickets. Like now he's having that success. He started a landscaping company. A landscaping company. That means there's people out there in the greater Detroit area who had Bruiser Wolf as their lawnmower. I got a lawnmower guy. That's how suburban am I? People cut my lawn. Listen, there's like an acre back there. Frankly, that time is better spent making videos. Whatever that costs, I make more doing YouTube videos. It all works out. But anyways, and I was like moving the guy just went behind me and a little rock got hit in the lawnmower and it hit me right in the ass. I got vanilla iced. Man, I thought I was going to have to go to the hospital. Anyways. So that's where he started, and this is where he is. A nice kind of beat change. What a beautiful album. What a beautiful way to end it. I feel like it's a journey. I feel like hopefully the rap world is ready to give him his flowers and to see what he is. If I could do anything to help that, if Curtis and I can't convince you to listen to Bruiser Wolf, then who are you listening to? Academics? He's just going to tell you to listen to Aiden Ross. For my birthday, this is my favorite Stephen Wright joke, by the way, of all time. 1 second. For my birthday, I got a humidifier and a dehumidifier. I put them in the same room and let them fight it out. I love that image. Just the 2 things just going all the time. All right, y'all. So there's my review. Thank you to Bruiser Wolf for making great art. The good news, all of you who are worried about hip-hop not being good, you're just not paying enough attention. There's so much good stuff out there. All right. Until... The video is over. You got to go home. I'm going to be out here on my porch. Kevin McAllister, home alone. My 2-year-old's inside. She's sleeping on a sleep sack. I don't want to wake her up. I'm going to crawl around back. Oh, okay. You know, there's a reason that I'm not a rapper and Bruiser Wolf is. Where's the camera? I can never seem to find it. I point in the wrong direction. I say, oh, shit.